I'm Courtney Shear, and I'm a secondary career and technical education major with a concentration in business, finance, and IT. And this is my final training project for my BE 4650 Computer Applications for Business and Education Professionals class. And so I had to choose a design software other than Adobe InDesign and Visio that we have been working with this semester, and basically do a how-to video using the software. So I chose Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe Illustrator is more of like a graphics editor, while Adobe InDesign was more of a desktop publishing software. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create and edit shapes, create lines, and add color using Illustrator. So this is my first time ever using Adobe Illustrator, so you can do create new, or if you have a previous file, you can choose open and find it that way. So we're just going to do create new. And whenever you're choosing your new document, you want to think about, am I going to print this out? Am I going to publish it on a web page? Am I going to use it on a mobile platform? Because there's different presets that you can use. Like you can choose iPhone, iPad, Surface, things like that. Web, you can choose the web page size. Print, paper, tabloid, or if you're going to use it for film and video, which is really awesome. I had never seen that option before. So we're just going to do print letter size right now, and over here you can choose your orientation, your width, your height, your bleed, how many artboards you want, but we're going to keep all that the same. And so this is how it will look whenever you create your document. Over here on the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, I'm sorry, you have your tools panel, and then over on the right-hand side, you have your properties, layers, and libraries. Properties is like your ruler, your grid. We're going to turn those off. Units, and your guides. And the tools panel is pretty simple to use. You have your selection tool, pen, text box, line, your shapes. You have rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, rounded rectangle, eraser, rotate, eyedropper, gradient, your fill, your stroke, and things like that. So we're just going to start off doing basic drawings of shapes. So we're going to start off with a rectangle. So you click over here on your rectangle tool. And you're going to just kind of resize, position to how you want it. So whenever you have that magenta guideline up here, that means that you have a perfect square. And the measurement box is the gray box with the width and the height is really helpful too, especially if you're wanting a precise size. So I don't want a perfect square, so I'm just going to resize it. We'll say I want it that big. So, and then you can resize it using the anchors if you would like. But within the rectangle, you have these little circles. And it can round off the edges of your rectangle. So if you click one of those and drag it towards the middle, see how it rounds? But I don't want it that way. We're going to keep it right there. So you do edit. Okay, deselect. So there's your rectangle. So next we're going to do a polygon. So you go over here to your rectangle tool and polygon. And you can draw, make it however big or small you want. So I'm going to do them, I'll do them yay big. Okay. So we're going to drag him more onto our paper. And the cool thing about the polygon is over here on the side, you'll have this smaller box by one of the anchors, and you click that smaller box and drag, and you can change how many sides you want your object to have. So you could do a triangle or a square, polygon, hexagon, octagon, or decagon, but I just want to keep it at a hexagon for now. And then it also has one of the rounded options as well. Okay? It is kind of rounded, but that's okay. We're going to move him. And you can also choose the rotate tool and rotate which way you want them to go. So I'm going to rotate them like that. Okay. Next, we are going to use our ellipse tool. The ellipse is like ovals and circles. So you're going to do a circle. And whenever those crosshairs appear, that means that is a perfect sized circle. So I don't want them to be perfect. We're going to make them a little bit of an oval. Okay? So there is our oval. And over here on the edge as well, you can choose if you want a semicircle or, or like a pie chart. That's really cool. Okay? But we're just going to keep them normal. Okay? Next, you have your line tool. And your line tool is drawing a line any way you want to. So you can click your mouse down, you can drag it, make how small, how big you want it to be. So for right now, we're just going to do a normal line like that. And over here in your properties panel, you have the stroke whenever your line object is selected. And that basically changes the boldness of the line. You can make it super big or super bold like 20, or you can make it super thin like 0.25. That's really thin. So I'm going to make, we'll do 8. Okay? So there's your line. And if, say, you're creating a house. We're going to say this rectangle up here will be our house. You can create lines, like you can do a door. There's one. And then draw another one. Okay? But I don't want the stroke that big, so we're going to take it back down to 2 points. Take it back down to 2. So you can do edit, copy, and then edit, paste. Instead of drawing a brand new line. And then you move him. Actually, we're just going to do copy. Do copy that, paste that. And I'm going to rotate him. Then it's not perfect. But basically just showing you how you can create lines. And also with the line, we're going to go back to this line down here. There is a reshape tool. So if you click over here, it'll normally pop up as scale tool, but reshape is under it. And what the reshape tool does is you can click a line. Drag, and it'll bend whichever way you want it to go. So I like that bend. So yeah, that's basically how to do basic shapes, create lines. So next we're gonna go over color. Color is basically makes the artwork. It adds interest and creativity. Color is my favorite. So let's say we want to fill this polygon. So you click your polygon, and fill is basically the entire color of your object, while stroke is the lines that border around your fill. And you can add color, gradient, or a repeating pattern. So right now we're just going to do basic color. So you click your object, and then over here in the tools you have fill and stroke. And whichever box is on top is the tool you're working with. So fill's on top right now, so if you double click that, you're working with fill. You have your color spectrum bar, so you can like say, hey, I want to do purple. And then you can click within the larger box over here And this is your new color, and that's the old color. Or you can choose color values if you know your own color values. Or there's color swatches, and it'll show you the color swatches. So let's say I like this light purple. Click OK. And it fills your polygon purple. That's really pretty. So you click again if you want to change the stroke. Then click the stroke to activate it. Let's say I want to give it a green. But this time we're going to use color swatches. So here's my green swatch. Click OK. But I want to make my stroke bigger. So you come over here to stroke. Let's make it 12 point. And you change the stroke color of your object. So say you want to have consistency throughout your art. You can use the eyedropper tool. So say I want to make this oval purple like your polygon. So you click the eyedropper tool and click within the purple, and it automatically makes the oval have a green stroke in the purple fill. And it's a fast way to apply the same formatting from one object to another whenever you want consistency throughout your product. So real quick, we're going to do gradients. So over here in Fill in the Properties, you can click on it, and there's already some gradient swatches. So you can click and see how it'll show. And you can also change your gradient colors. So you go down to gradient options, and we'll move this panel up so you can see what you're working with. Okay. So down here is your color stops, and it shows the colors. Make sure you're working with Fill. I had it on stroke, but make sure you're working on Fill if you want to work with the entire object. So you have your color stops down here. Some of them have 2 color stops, some of them have 5. But if you don't want a color stop, you can just click it. Whoops. You can click, say trash, click trash, because I only want 2 color stops. So to change the color of your color stops, you can double click one of those buckets of color, I like to call them, and you can choose which color. So I like that light blue for that color stop. And then for the other color stop, I like the pink. So we're going to keep it with pink. And you can choose your opacity. And up here you can choose the type if you want it linear or radial. So we're going to keep it with the radial. And then over here in your tools, you have your gradient tool, which shows a bar. And the bar basically shows the direction and your length of your gradient fill. So you can move your bar, and it will change where the center is. You can make it small, make it larger, and things like that. So that's just basic use of gradient fill and color. And there's a whole lot more, but that's just where I'm going to end it for now. And gradient also adds creativity and interest and dimension and depth to your artwork. Gradient is one of my favorite tools. I have used it in several of my projects. So gradient option is one of my favorites. But this will conclude the how-to video for creating shapes, lines, and adding color using Adobe Illustrator.